So Tommy, here's the problem right here. This is a staircase to the basement. When we got here, there was no door. And I got two little girls, and I didn't want them just running down the stairs and falling. So I went down the basement and found a door that matched the rest of the doors in the house. But as you can see, it doesn't close quite right. And so I had to mount this lock up here. There's also a huge gap at the bottom, and the floor is pitched. So I just felt like I needed help.
Well, first of all, first thing I notice is that the door is upside down and it's inside out. So if I look at the striker right here, the beveled part of the striker will allow the door to go into the opening, pushing that in. But you've got some tape on there, and the tape actually allows the striker to go in when I hit the jamb. And so I also noticed that this rail right here is the wide part of the rail, and this one actually belongs on the bottom of the door. So what we need to do is flip the door up the right way, and then add a piece to the bottom of the door. You ready to do some work?
Absolutely.
All right. To get started, we need to remove the door. So we'll take out the hinge pins, take it outside, and remove all the hardware. Ready? So now we have the door in the right position. What I want to do is I want to put it in the opening, but I want to push it up tight to the header to see how crooked the header is. Hold it up tight. That's good right there. Now you can see the gap at the top of the door. There's a space here and it goes down to nothing there. That tells me that the house is settled on that side. What I want to do is I want to cut the door to follow that angle. So I'll set my scribes at the widest space on this side here, and now just follow along the jamb. Let's take it outside and cut along that line, and that way the top of the door will be parallel with the jamb. Now, because we're turning the door inside out, I have to reverse the hinge this way. All right, let's lay the door right here for a second. Now let me show you what I did outside. Is I actually took a piece of wood and I held it against the top of the hinge, and I marked the length of it to be about 1/8 of an inch longer than the door to give me a space between the top of the door and the underside of the jamb. I also want to mark the distance from the edge of the hinge to the face of the door. So I put a reference line on my gauge block. So now I just pull the hinge and we can reference all of this without measuring the casing or the jamb.
Great.
So I hold my gauge block tight against the header, take the hinge and hold it tight against the underside of the gauge block, lining the edge of the hinge up with my reference line. Okay. Now I'll just drill a hole and we can put our first screw in. Okay. Okay, so now we can remove this and we'll bring the door over and hang it. All right, so now we'll just get it right up onto the hinge. That's good there. And now we'll mount the bottom hinge.
Okay.
Use my gauge block with the reference line. Slide it out just a little, right there. Drill a hole and screw it in position. Okay, so now what we can do is close the door and see how it fits into the opening.
Okay.
gap across the top of the door is good. We have a larger gap on this side. So now what I need to do is mortise these hinges in to allow the door to go that way.
Okay.
Next thing I want to do is I want to check the distance under the door. To the floor, it's 3.5 inches. Now we know the floor slopes up. So what we need to do is open the door, then measure down from the bottom of the door to the floor, and we have 2 3/4 of an inch. So the maximum filler that we can put on that side is 2 5/8. That gives us a little bit of a space. We close the door, we'll have a little gap, but not as much.
Sounds good.
All right, let me mortise these hinges. To extend the height of the door, I actually glued one continuous strip across the bottom of the door. I glued it and screwed it to the rail in the middle. Now the stiles will expand and contract this way over time, and some time of the year they may overhang the end just about 1/16 of an inch, but they'll always go back to this dimension when the conditions are the same as they are right now. But when you paint this door, I don't want it to look like one continuous piece across. I want it to make it look like the stile and rails. So I'm going to create a fake seam to match the rail. I'm going to do that with my utility knife. Make a couple of swipes. All right, so now when you paint the door, it'll look like the stiles come all the way down.
Great.
All right, so next thing I want to do is install the mortise that goes in here to hold the door closed into the opening. Now, the mortise that you got on this door is actually for the different swing of the door. We need the bevel to go on the inside, so when you close it, it will close and then snap open. So what I want to do is open up that box to see if I can rotate the latch. Okay, so now I don't want to lose the spring. I'm going to see if I can get it out of here. All the way around. I'm just going to flip it over and put it right back in. There you go. Put the cover back on, and we're in business.
Perfect.
Now let's reinstall the hardware. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Bring it in. All right, Garrett, give it a try, see how it works.
Perfect latch. Tommy, you're amazing. You fixed the latch, looks right in the door frame. Another amazing job. Thanks a lot.